Afternoon, my dear students. So today topic of my lecture is replacement studies, and this is the sixth lecture of our subject engineering, economics, and industrial management. In this very topic, we'll be discussing about the various replacement analysis. That what are the various factors that are responsible for replacement of your current asset with the new asset, and what you mean by replacement, basically why we need to have replacement and what is replacement. Is it bringing the new asset? Is it selling the old asset? Or why the what are the factors which are responsible for selling or disposing of our old assets? That is what is basically done in case of your replacement studies. So let's start with the introduction to replacement. Replacement can be defined as a decision problems involving the replacement of existing, obsolete, or worn out assets. Replacement is basically actually an asset or decision problem that I have taken a decision that I want to replace my old assets or the worn out assets with the new ones. I want to buy a new asset, and for that buying, I need to replace my old assets with a new one. Now, what are the factors or what are the causes which are responsible for my replacement? Why do I need to have a replacement? First of all, what is the need of replacement? What is replacement, and what are the causes which cause to happen the replacement issues? The first cause is deterioration. Deterioration means that whenever we are having a case where any of our project or any of our equipment is getting deteriorated. Deteriorated means it is getting destroyed, getting damaged, it is getting wear and tear. That is all about deterioration. So whenever we are accompanying the deterioration issues, we come across the replacement. When we see that our asset is not working properly now, my equipment is not working properly now, I need to replace my asset with a new one. Then a deterioration term comes into existence. Then comes the obsolescence. Obsolescence means something's become outdated. Like we have obsolescence is outdated things which are outdated equipments which are not in use now. For example, if you talk about industries have many machines, but the machines which were working 20 years or 30 years back, those machines are not capable to work in today's scenario. Why so? Because those machines were made according to the conditions, according to circumstances that were originally occurring 30 years or 20 years ago. But now the situations are very different. Suppose we talk about the garment industry only. The garment industry which were producing the products which were being produced 20 years ago. The same design, the same pattern, the same colors are not in fashion now. They are being absolutely obsolete. So we need to change them. We need to replace those machines with the new machines. Now, in this case, in case of obsolescence, there comes a point that the machines are not usually wear and tear issues are not there. Deterioration of machine is not there. There, the machine is not in a condition to work now. That is not a case over there. The only case over here is the machine, the products that are being manufactured by that machine are not in use nowadays. So in that case, those products are termed as the obsolete products. And producing a production of those products is of no use in today's scenario. So we need to replace those products with the new products. And new products can only be manufactured when we buy the new machines or when we replace the old machines with the new machines. The third point for the cause of replacement is inadequacy. Inadequacy means when our machine or our equipment is not adequate to work in that manner as we want. As the machine is not working properly, the working of the machine is not adequate. It is not in consideration with our work. It is working, but its efficiency is very low. It is not inadequate. It is inadequate. It's working. its designs that which are being produced by that machine are of no use to us, we don't require this kind of designs, then that is one of the reason for the cause of replacement. Then the third one is the working conditions. Working conditions, what do you mean by working conditions? Working conditions means what are the various working conditions which are prevailing for the cause of replacement. Why we need to place the things and what are the various working conditions which are required for our replacement issues. So that is another point when we talk about your replacement. What are the, sometimes we need, sometimes those machines are not able to work in a very humid weather, in a very, temperature, high temperature regions. Some machines are not capable to work in very cold weathers. In that case, those machines, the working conditions of those machines are not adequate with the environmental conditions. So the working conditions can be any. It can be working condition of environment, or in which area which we are using for those machines to work. Is that area capable, or is that area sufficient for the working, smooth working of that machine? That is one of the main aspect that we need to make in consideration while we are using the replacement studies. So replacement is of asset with deteriorate with time economic life of an asset. Now replacement, why we need to replace the assets? Replacement is basically done because some of the our assets, they get deteriorated with time. They are not in sufficient position to work for a certain span of time after 10 years. Like we're using so many electronic gadgets, like we're using mobile phones, we're using laptops, we're using computers, we're using desktops, we are using the geysers, we are using the, any of the electronic equipment. If we talk about all of the electronic equipments have a certain lifespan which is known as economic life of an asset. That means after that life, it will won't work properly. It will work, but we need to give a time to time maintenance, repair. The output will be reduced. It will not work properly. Inadequacy of that work will be there. So in that case, we need to replace the asset. So the buyer thinks that it is better to replace our asset with the new one in order to get more output, get more efficiency, as the old asset is not providing us with the that efficient system as we expect it from. Then replacement of an existing asset with a new asset is a replacement. Replacement is technically it is a just replacement of an existing asset, whatever we have today, existence of that asset with a new asset. Like we take example for this case, we can take an analogy of our scooter, the Bajaj Chetak scooter. The Bajaj Chetak scooter was in demand for each and every house was having a Bajaj Chetak house. It when we were talking about near about 35 to 40 years ago, when we talk about 80s or 90s, then each and every house was having a Bajaj Chetak scooter because that was in huge demand at that moment of time. And its working, its efficiency, everything was very good. Its average was also very good. But if we say that Bajaj Chetak is in that demand right now in 2021 also, no, that's not the same situation. Why? Because the trends have changed. The people are now opting for other things, like the people are opting for Activa or any other bikes, Pulse or anything else, any other two wheelers. They have replaced the scooters with the motorbikes or the motor bicycles. So that means that the things go on changing. So for that we need to replace it. And some of the people who have already bought it, they're also thinking that after 10 years the thing is not working properly. My scooter is life is already over. I think it's 10 to 15 years. Now it's all over, and now I need to replace it with a new asset. Now I need to replace it with a new scooter or a new bike or a new Activa Honda or whatever you want to wish to buy, because existing or the actual economic life of that asset is over after 10 to 15 years. Now, how it is over? Because after 10 years or after 5 years or 6 years, what actually happens is the machine will go on working, but the maintenance cost will go on increasing, because after every 2 or 3 days you will encounter, oh, its tire is punctured, the tire tube is its tube is not working properly, the engine is not working properly, my bike, the self start has not is not working, it is already corrupt. So we come across so many problems after a certain span of time, because it has a machinery parts which have a certain lifespan, and after that lifespan the machinery parts will go on decreasing, its efficiency will go on decreasing, and we need to have our new replacement, that is a new asset need to bring out, that is a major reason for any of the replacements. Okay, then simple probabilistic model for assets which fail completely, replacement due to sudden failure. Now some of the some of the models, some of the machines, they work on certain algorithms or certain probabilistic models. Now they have suddenly failed to work, that algorithm is not working, then I need to replace it, there is a sudden need to replace it. So for that case, I need to have a certain replacement of that asset with a new asset. Now that is your another kind of a replacement issue that comes across whenever we go across and whenever we come across the replacement issues of probabilistic models or your or what or your algorithm problems. Replacement, what is the replacement and what are the factors which are actually important for replacement studies, why we need to have replacement for that cases, that we need to know over here. Efficiency loss resulting from continued use. What is the loss in efficiency when we are continuously using some product? If I'm continuous in usage of some product, that is the thing that it after a certain span of time, that product becomes in some such a condition that it will not provide that efficiency that it was producing before 5 to 10 years. Now if I'm if I take example of a motorcycle, or if I take an example of a motorbike, the average of my motorcycle was quite good when it was working for 2 years back or 3 years back, or when I bought a new bike for just for 2 years, then it was working in a very good condition. But after 8 years, after 10 years, the average of that bike will be same or not? It will not be same, it will be reduced. So it means that the efficiency of my bike is reducing, it will start consuming more and more fuel, and the efficiency will go on decreasing as it was producing or it is using before 10 years, before 8 years, or before 7 years of that buying it. So that means the conditions and the usage that go on changing after certain span of time, the efficiency of that system results with a continued use. Efficiency loss, there is a loss of efficiency if we go on using it, if we go on losing it. If we talk about any of the gadget, if we talk about refrigerators also, refrigerator is working for 10 years or 15 years, it will not provide the same cooling effect as it was producing the air cooling effect before 10 years. Same is the condition for this air conditioners also. Even if we are regularly getting it serviced by the service engineers of air conditioners, but still the cooling factor of that air conditioner will not be same as it is the same for the first year and after 10 years. The cooling will go on decreasing. The cooling of the refrigerator or the cooling factor of air conditioner will go on decreasing because it's continuous in use. It is continuously being used, and after continuous usage, the efficiency of that system will go on decreasing. So that is another factor for replacement. Greater energy requirements. We require a greater energy for the replacements. We require a greater high energy resources for replacements because great energy requirements are also. But why we have great energy requirements? Because with the continuous usage, the you know we need to have get it repaired after a certain span of time. We need to spend time for repairing. We need to sometimes be in a hurry and a machine is not working, our bike is not working, then we have to, then it becomes very messy at that point of time how to handle the situation. So that there's a great energy requirements when we need to have replacements and all our requirements for that product. And increase routine and corrective maintenance cost. We need to have routine checkups of our instrument. We need to provide the corrective maintenance cost. What are the various corrective maintenance costs that can be provided for that instrument so that we can have better system. How we can increase our maintenance cost, how we can increase our routine cost. That is one of the factor that is making a great havoc in the replacement studies, because after certain span of time we need to spend much more time on the maintenance of our equipments, whether it's any of the equipments that we use. Increased need for operator intervention. So we need to have get it regularly checked. We need to get our equipment regularly checked by the operator so that we can know that what are the various problems that our instrument is going through, what are the various issues my instrument is going through, so that I can overcome those issues and I can make my system, I can make my machine more efficient. So that is one of the major factor over here. Unanticipated problems leading to equipment deterioration. Some of the problems which are not required, which are not expected. Sometimes the machine it is not always that all old machineries are only not in a condition to work. Sometimes the new machineries which you have bought, sometimes new machineries are also not in a condition to work. They are also not in a position to work properly, because take an example, I have bought a mobile phone, and after buying for 2 months, I have purchased a mobile phone 2 months back, and after 2 months only my battery backup is becoming 10%. After 2 hours my battery is completely down, even if I'm not using internet, even if I'm not using any Zoom, I'm not using any YouTube, I'm not accessing any of the heavy sites, or I'm not playing any game on mobile phone, but for which my battery will work or will be continuously consumed, then also my battery is going down. That means there is some uninterrupted, there is some unexpected problem come into my device, that it has stopped working. Some part of machinery is not working properly. There is some unexpected error has occurred in my machine, which is making my machine to not work properly. Now, in that case, a 2 months old machine or a 2 months old mobile phone is not expected to work in that bad condition. Na? So in that case, there is unexpected errors, unaccepted problems that they have come across in the replacement, which is leading to the issues of replacement. So in that case, also the battery or the screen has damaged. Now the software has damaged. So in that cases, we need to have it replaced. And if it is a warranty period, then we can get it exchanged by our dealer. So that is what it is actually, because machines are some things which are unpredictable at certain moment of time. We can't expect every time that this thing should happen. Sometimes unexpected things also happen. Now this machine which is bought 2 months ago, this is not expected to be that bad that it cannot work. You know, it cannot work after 2 months only. The battery should be not be that bad condition that it should not be able to work after 2 months. The battery is completely down. All the software has corrupted of the phone. All your contacts, all your media things, everything has been vanished. In that case, it's very hurting and it's very disappointing and unexpected things is with the machine. So in that case, also we need to replace the things. So it is not always the life of an asset, or after a certain span of time, the machine or the equipment get replaced. it is sometimes due to some unexpected or unavoidable circumstances, we need to replace our machines. So, with the time, after 10 to 15 years, if the machine is not working, it means that what? It means that what? It means that it is quite natural. It is quite natural that after 10 to 15 years, the machine has completed its complete period and now it's not working, isn't it? After 10 to 15 years, the machine has completed its stipulated period, and now, with respect to time, the machine has come across certain problems. Now, that was the most expected thing. That was nothing unexpected in that because normal machinery has 10 to 15 years only. After that, the machinery is getting worse. And now, that is also a biggest maximum time. 10 to 15 years also maximum time. So that is the most expected thing. But if the machinery is not working after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or a year, or 2 years, then that means there is some problem in the machinery at the time of manufacturing only, which is a defaulty piece, you can say, that we have taken. So that is the major issues with replacement. Now, replacement, significant change in demand for related products or services. There is significant change in demand for related products or services. We sometimes we are demanding certain products and we are not getting it, isn't it? Now the demand of my project is not being fulfilled by the existing machine, isn't it? Suppose I have a yarn industry. I have a yarn of the yarn industries is working with me, and the products or the yarns, the clothing that is being manufactured in my industry is not in fashion. It's not in trend right now. It's not in demand right now. Then is there any need of producing such kind of products? No, it's not. No use then. We don't need to purchase any of those products in that case. So in that case, we can have a in that case we can say that yes, we can have, or we can say that we need to buy the products, or we need to have those products in such a way that they can fulfill the demands of the customers or the market situation. The manufacturing of products is always with respect to current scenario. Whatever the current demand of the people is, that is only being manufactured. Let's take example of mask. The mask that we wear daily, the face mask that we wear daily, or the complete cover sheets that the doctors wear, or the face shield that people normally wear while traveling. So these were not in demand before this 2020 year. Have you ever heard about this face mask? Have you heard about this face shield? It was being used by doctors only while doing some operations, or while doing some, very crucial things, so that no infection comes to a patient whom they were coming across. So they were only used by limited people, and that too for their professional purposes. But nowadays, because of this pandemic, everyone is using a face mask because it has become a necessity now. Or these what we call them, the sanitizers, they were not in demand. They were being manufactured, no doubt. The hospitals were having sanitizers and they used to sanitize it before also, but they were only limited for a certain people, for a certain strata of people, like hospitals or like the healthcare departments, where where the people normally come with infections, or the ill people come there. There we need to sanitize the things. But now, because of this pandemic situation, each and everyone is having a sanitizer at their homes, at the offices, at the schools, at the colleges, because it's a current scenario. We never knew about this before. So this is something that is to be manufactured at the time, immediate effect. And now, each and every shopkeeper is keeping a face mask, is keeping a sanitizer with them. Why? Because it's in demand. So everything comes in with demand. Everything that we manufacture, that is being processed by the industry, is in accordance with the current scenario or in current demand. If the current demand of that product is there, then we will need to buy that product, otherwise we not buy it. The significant change in the composition or design of associated products or services. There is sometimes a significant change in the composition or design of products. That I have already told you that there is sometimes we need to change the compositions or designs of the products. Then we need to replace the things because my machinery is not in capability. It is not that capable to produce the new designs now. It is capable of only designing or only performing the old designs, which were not in demand right now. So we need to replace the old machines with the new machines which are capable of producing the new designs and services. May be considered a form of obsolescence. Sometimes the machines become obsolete. Those machines are outdated. They're not being used now, isn't it? So though obsolete machines, obsolete technologies, they are sent some away, and we need to come or implement with the new machines, new equipments, so that we can get the new results. Because the outputs are changing, the demands are changing. In that way, we need to buy the new assets. Now, what is the impact of technology on replacement? What is the impact of technology on replacement? The impact of technological change varies with the associated industry. Now, the impact of what right now my technology is in some phase, the other time the technology is not of that phase. So, impact of technological phase is always there. Now, technological phase, for example, we can take off 2G phones. Before 8 to 10 years, all of us were having the keypad phones. Those were not having any internet connections. They were not using any internet. No YouTube was working on our phones. No SMS. Only SMS and calling facility was there on our phones. It is only 10 to 50, 10, 8 to 10 years back I'm talking about. And now the technology has become so advanced that what is the thing that you can't access on your phone? We can take a live class on our phone. We can access the meetings. We can access the documents. We can process the documents. We can get the emails. We can send the emails. We can watch the YouTubes. We can watch the full complete movies on our phones. Now, what is a thing that is not capable a phone is? So that means the technology has advanced with so many years and with such a great or a huge pace or a huge speed. So with the impact of technology, we need to replace that thing. Now, what that technology has replaced? It has replaced the 2G with 3G, then 3G with 4G, and now with the incoming time, the 4G will be replaced with the 5G technology, which will be much more faster than the 4G technology. And in each and every advancement of 2G, 3G, or 4G, we are heading towards the higher speed, higher bandwidth, and more transmission of data. Technological changes typically reduce cost per unit and improve the quality of output. Yes, of course. Technological changes, whenever we talk about technology and the changes that we come across in technology, the technological changes are typically reduce the cost per unit. What is actual cost? It is being reduced by using the technology that is come into existence, and it also improves the overall quality of the output. The overall quality of the product is also improved by using the this technological advancements. Yes, we can take the example of 2G, 3G, or 4G over here, that we can say that 4G is somewhat better. Why it is better? Because 4G has so many features in which were missing in 2G or 3G technologies. Despite of higher in internet speeds, we are having so many other facilities also. We are able to access so many things which we were able to access in 2G and 3G phones. Now it results in earlier replacement of existing asset with the improved asset. Yes. Again, here also we can see an example of mobile phones only. Because when 4G was launched in year 2016, I remember in the year 2016, 4G technology was launched. And Jio was the first operator who launched 4G phones. And with that 4G, if you want to access the 4G network services, you need to buy the 4G phone first. Because most of us were not having the 4G phones. We were only using 2G and 3G SIMs. But they were not capable of performing the 4G operations. So if you want to take the services of 4G phones, you need to buy the 4G phones first. So all the people were buying the 4G phones first, and then they were taking the 4G SIMs. And the Geo phone operated, and they gave the facility of high speed data for so many months. It was totally free. They were not charging anything. That was also one of the business strategy, so that they can completely establish their business all over, and each and every customer was using a 4G phone free of cost. So many mobile phones were being sold at that moment of time. Firstly, all other operators were failed, completely failed. Whether it was Airtel, whether it was Vodafone, whether it was Idea or it was BSNL, whatever the operator was, mostly all of the people were using having a Geo SIM because it was totally free and it was giving such a high speed network. So all of the people were using that high speed network, and they were using the 4G SIMs, and they were assessing it. So it was this 4G launching helped, or this 4G launching created a situation of complete removal or completely replacement of the existing asset with the new asset in a very sudden period, in a very astonishing and in a very unexpected way. It came into existence, which was not acceptable or which was not expected. Yes, may be considered a form of obsolescence. It can be considered as a form of obsolescence also sometimes, because now 2G phones, 3G phones are completely obsolete. No one is using them nowadays. There are very rare people who are not able, that are grandfathers or grandmothers, who are not able to use those touchscreen phones or the latest kind of phones. So they are not using it. Otherwise, 99% people of India are using the latest technology phones nowadays. So because of the obsolescence of the previous technology phones, that is the major reason of using it. Then impact of technology on replacement, we have a period of time, years, that results in the minimum equivalent uniform annual cost of owning and operating an asset. Now there is one term that is known as the equivalent uniform annual cost. It's a very important term, equivalent uniform annual cost, which deals with the owing and operating an asset. How to owe an asset, how to buy an asset, and how to operate on an asset. That is one of the most important thing that is it is working with. So EUAC is a term sometimes used to identify the annual worth of a primarily cost cash flow pattern. So it is a term which is being used to identify the annual worth of the primarily cost cash flow patterns. So that is one of the major thing that we can say. Okay, so it is a term that identifies the annual worth of any product. How much I am getting out of that product annually. After 1 year, what is the selling of that product, or what I am earning a profit out of that product. That is the annual worth of that product. And that is being calculated by EUAC department. Assuming good asset management, economic life should coincide with time from date of acquisition to date of abandonment, emotion in use, or replacement from primary intended service. Assuming the good issue asset management economic life should coincide with time from date of acquisition, date of abandonment. So a management team who is in a procedure to to change the old asset with a new asset should always have in mind that what are the factors that I have to consider while I am in a position to replace my old asset with a new asset. What was its condition? What was its lifespan like? How was it working for that 8 years or 7 years since I bought this instrument? So it should have a complete analysis that what was the complete, structural analysis of that product when you were using it. So the management should have that, data with it. Then we come the ownership. Ownership is a period between the date of acquisition and date of disposal by a specific owner. Now, what is the period between the date of acquisition and date of disposal by a specific owner? That I need to know, first of all. That at what date the owner bought the thing, and what date the date was disposed, on what date it was being disposed. So ownership means that on what date I had a complete acquisition of that product, and on what date I decided to dispose that product. Okay, on what date I decided to dispose that product, that complete analysis should be there into my mind. Okay, that is to be done into my mind. A given asset may have different categories of use during this period. A given asset can have different categories which through which I can say that it's being used now, is being used years later, or this is the major category wise assassination of that product that is to be seen. Then the physical life. What do you mean by the physical life of the product? Physical life of product means the period of time between the original acquisition and the final disposal of an asset over its succession of owners. The actual period of time between the original acquisition and final disposal of an asset over its succession of owners. Sometimes we need to know that what is actual original acquisition when it was originally came into existence. Suppose I bought my product on 9th of September 2010. Okay. And date of disposal was 10th September 2020. So this period of 10 years is what? This is the actual period of the physical life of my project. Was a physical life of my project that comes across with the date of acquisition when I actually bought that product, and a date of disposal when I actually disposed that project off. That is the physical life of the project. Then comes the useful life. Useful life of the project. The time period in years that an asset is kept in productive service, either in primary or backup mode. That is a time period in years. I can say over this that actual time period that an asset is kept in a productive service. I say that this product was quite capable to work for, it was very productive for 7 years. But after 7 years, it was the production level of that product is decreased. So productive level of that product is known as a useful life of that product. The time period in years that an asset is kept in productive service, either in primary or backup mode, is known as the useful life of the product. An estimate of how long an asset is expected to be used. For how long an asset is expected to be used in a trade or business to produce income. That is your useful life. That is an estimate that for this long period that it is expected to be in trade or business or to product or to produce the income. That is my useful life. That this is the most expected period. Say for any machine of manufacturing, whether it's a medicine industry or something, if this machine is capable of producing the certain medicines for 5 years, but after a period of 5 years, this machinery of that machine will go on decreasing. So that is not expected for that period. That machinery will be reduced in that case. So that is not a useful life of the product. So that is all for this replacement studies. If you find any doubt in this, you can ask me at any moment.